Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
I'm Mike Field.
And you're watching Now Renting with Forgotten Cinema. We're talking today about Don't Tell a Soul.
Right, Don't Tell a Soul.
Tell a Soul.
All right, that's not even in the movie. That's not what happens in the movie at all.
Tell us what the... Yes.
Okay. So Don't Tell a Soul is about a security officer who falls down a hidden well while chasing two teenage brothers who stole more than $12,000. Desperate to get out, he soon tries to convince one of the siblings to set him free and save his life.
Great summary.
Thanks, man.
All right. So as usual, we like to present you guys with three things each of us liked about the movie and try to convince you guys that it's worth a rent, which it is.
So my number one is the brotherly bond, is the bond between the two actors and the two brothers. I think, I feel like a broken record a lot of times when we're talking about these movies, but it does make you think that a lot of the characters and a lot of the actors need to help carry this movie along. If these two brothers don't work well together, I'm talking about acting wise, because in the movie, they do not get along.
No.
But if they are not strong actor wise, they're not strong with their performances, I think this movie's going to falter a little bit. But I definitely think the brotherly bond is what helps this movie forward. It's not a long movie, which is nice. And it's not a story that lends itself to being long.
Right.
But yeah, that was my number one thing. My first thing was the brotherly bond. What was yours?
Kind of going off of that, my first thing is Jack Dylan Grazer to begin with. I think he's a super strong actor. From watching him in It to watching him in Shazam, where he almost steals the show from Zachary Levi in that movie. I think he does a fantastic dramatic turn in this film as a conflicted young teenager who at one point is afraid of his brother and wants to stick to his brother's rules out of fear, but also wants to save Mr. Hamby, Rainn Wilson's character, out of altruism, knowing that that's the right thing to do, and being torn between those two worlds, and just kind of watching his soul kind of be torn between these two options really carry the film. And I think that that's a lot for a young actor to carry on his shoulders on his own, and I think he really does a great job with that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the other thing. I know I talked about the brotherly bond and number one. My number two was the actors. This movie, like I said, is short, so this movie relies on not so much just the plot to drive it, but the characters to drive it as well.
Absolutely.
And I think the performances help with that, much like what you said. What's your number two?
My number two is, like, I know you talk about the brotherly bond, but I think Mr. Hamby, played by Rainn Wilson, is fantastic. I think it's really Rainn Wilson and Jack Dylan Grazer who really make the film work together. It's their conversations between ham radios or little sat radios and being in the well talking to each other really drives the film, really gets into the head of these different characters and really connects them in a very weird and almost like kind of disturbing way as the film goes on, but in a way that really makes you want to keep watching the film. And I think Rainn Wilson, coming from The Office, and a lot of people haven't seen maybe his more dramatic roles, I think he does a really fantastic job as being both kind of suspicious and likable at the same time.
He's definitely good in the movie, so yeah, I agree with that. My number three is the pacing of the film. I think the movie, even though it's short, like, again, the third time I'm bringing it up, it definitely takes its time. It definitely doesn't try to cram a lot of things in there. A lot of times with movies, there are so many plots and so many subplots that they want to try to get into the movie that's why it kind of makes the film blow up a little bit. But this film has a good pacing. It knows the story. It tells the story and it sticks with it. And I think that helps make this an easy watch for somebody who's just looking for a nice, solid, short film on a Saturday night.
Absolutely. That's not my number three.
Why not?
But I would say, because I have a different number three, but I do enjoy that it's short and it does tell the story it wants to tell without cramming things in to try to make it 120 minutes. And I think you guys would appreciate that as well.
Sure.
I really enjoy the ending of the film. I'm not going to give too much away. I just really like the way the film ends. It does not end on kind of
everyone does.
I would say like zombie outbreak. The Avengers come in. Samuel L. Jackson comes in and invites them all to the
Yes,
Avengers.
Mr. Hamby, I like the cut of your jib.
No, none of that happens, and I won't tell you what happens, but I do like the way it ends. It ends in a way that I don't know if you're gonna see coming, or maybe not exactly the way that you're going to see coming, both in a way that, if it ends on a dour note or a happy note, it ends on a note. It ends on the exact, you might guess, it's going to end bad or it's going to end good, but you're not going to see exactly the way it ends coming, which I think is really great for this film, because I didn't see the end coming exactly the way it did. And I was like, I like that. So, Mike, Forgotten Cinema. What What are we about?
We're a podcast
Ooh.
that cover each episode. We cover one movie. You can find us on all the podcast platforms. We talk about a variety of films, much like we're doing right now. We're bantering back and forth. We argue a lot. We yell at each other a lot.
That's true.
All in good fun. But yeah, so if you're looking to watch a movie tonight, hopefully Don't Tell Us So is right up your alley. You're on our way right now. Just click the button below, and then you'll be whisked away to watching this movie.
I hate
Right?
you.
You don't think they'll be whisked away?
Ugh, so I'm Mike Butler.
I'm Mike Field.
And this has been Now Renting with Forgotten Cinema, presented by Row 8.